Next up, Henry Ford. Why does that name sound familiar? I don't know why.
Hi, I'm Henry Ford. I was one of the most well-known and influential icons in American history. I once wisely admonished there is no failure except failure to serve one's purpose. I was born into a farming family and used my life experiences to further my desire to work with machines and engines. I had a special bond with the Upper Peninsula and my home state of Michigan and drastically revived many towns there. I was born in Dearborn, Michigan in 1863 and was the oldest of 6 children. I loved growing up on a farm, but hated farming. I wanted to figure out how to make farm life easier and more efficient. In 1876, my mom tragically died in labor when I was only 13. Sadly, I started to feel like I did not belong on the farm anymore. One day, while riding on a horse and buggy with my dad, I saw my first vehicle that moved independently. It had a steam engine, and that inspired me to pursue a new life in engineering. When I was 16 years old, I left my family farm and moved to the big city of Detroit, where I started my career as a machinist. I started working at a machine shop, and there I learned how to make different types of engines and machines. In 1888, I returned to my family's farm and spent some time experimenting with my own blueprints. A few years later, I met my future wife, Clara Bryant, at a dance, and knew right away I would marry her. In 1888, we were married and had one son, Edsel. That year, I was promoted to chief engineer of Edison Illuminating Company. In 1899, I left my position with Edison and founded the Detroit Automobile Company. The first vehicle I made was called the Quadricycle, and I founded Ford Motor Company in 1903. My dream was to create a car for the middle class, the Model T. The moving assembly line allowed me to make the production of a car from 12 hours to just 93 minutes. The idea of a family vacation for all classes was a new concept due to the result of my idea. Speaking of a vacation, I loved going on trips and seeking the great outdoors. I had a large impact in the Upper Peninsula and purchased almost the entire town of Big Bay in the UP. It became a very important outpost for me and my Ford Motor Company. It was one of my favorite vacation spots, and I wanted to make my company self-sufficient by owning many of the resources I needed to make cars. This included lumber, so I purchased over 300,000 acres of land and set up a sawmill in the area. In Big Bay, I could relax but still do business. And in 1943, I purchased the sawmill that still sits on Lake Independence today. I loved watching the sawmill so much, I had several houses and a church move, so I had the perfect view. I also bought the general store, which would eventually become the Thunder Bay Inn, and I loved to sit on the porch and give children coins to buy candy. At the age of 83, I passed away in 1947, but my legacy still remains in Ford motor towns like Big Bay as well as throughout the United States. My roots in a farming town were never forgotten as I pursued greatness. As I encourage, the gifted man bears his gifts into the world, not for his own benefit, but for the people among whom he is placed.